Okay, so this is the end of another, well, I wouldn't even call it a playtest anymore because I'm actually quite satisfied, very satisfied with the way the scenario plays out of the Green Hell Hurtgen Forest scenario. Final score 24-17 for the Americans. They need to have 24 medals, but at least five of those medals, need to be victory objective medals. Now, they control this town. I took off the medal. It's actually on the medal stand, but they control this town, Rafflesbrand. This one, Simonskal. They control the church in Vossenac. They control the Kal River Bridge. And they control the town of Germeter, which is exactly 5 medals. And, well, the rest, of course, is made up of all the German units that they destroyed. And as you can see, the German reinforcements are coming up from behind. It's basically the idea for the Germans to keep on pushing the Americans back from the villages so as to deny them the victory medals. I mean, they're holding on by their fingernails here in Vossenac, although reinforcements are coming up from the rear, and they probably would still be able to contest that village. What's more, in the town of Hurtgen itself, they actually threw out the Americans again. And as you can see here, lots of reinforcements coming up towards the town as well. So I guess that's the basic overall strategy for the Germans. To keep on contesting those villages so as to deny the Americans those victory medals. Early on in the game, it would have been possible to do a counterattack towards Simonskal and Rafflesbrand so as to take back those medals from them. Later on in the game, that's a bit difficult because the Americans tend to basically close off the approaches to the Germans to get there. Yeah, so it plays out really nicely. I mean, potentially the Americans could have as many as 30 plus medals, but still not have one because they don't meet the requirement of having at least 5 victory medals. So now they do, and the Germans had a bad hand towards the end of the game, really. So there wasn't much they could do, some bad die rolls. The Americans had some good die rolls. I mean, if they had just managed, which they did, they attacked this unit, but yeah, all dice missed. So, I mean, making the Americans retreat off of the bridge and moving onto it would have, you know, postponed it at the very least again. And, well, that way the Germans do close in, because the Germans do not need to have those 5 victory medals. They just need to get 24 medals, and destroyed units will do just fine. Even though they get some medals for Hill 400 as well, too, to be precise, and they can also get one for Vossenac Church, but they didn't have it. What else happens in this scenario? Well, here in the woods, what happens all the time, what tends to happen is that the Americans advance. They actually push away the German defenders from here, but even then it's very tough going and it's very slow, as it should be, I suppose. Because all the time when the Americans advance into a woods hex, they don't get to fight anymore. The hills are steep hills, which means that it costs 2 movement points, so even then they usually don't get to fight anymore, unless, for instance, they have an infantry assault card. But every time they advance, they will meet a German unit, which will be able to fire, usually, if they have the cards for it. And if they throw a flag, well, then history repeats itself over and over again. The Americans advance, only to be pushed back. So yeah, the going is really slow there for them. And I like that because that's the way it was intended, and that's the way it actually works out. The Germans tend to get more and more reinforcements as play progresses, as you can see here, and had play continued for, I don't know, 5-6 cards, something like that, it's quite possible that the Germans would have won. But yeah, the Americans still managed to retain their 5 victory medals. The Germans could have pushed for Germeter as well earlier on during the game so as to contest that one, but they didn't. And yeah, now it's too late, but as you can see, there's still certainly a fight going on still, and the Germans are pushing them back, but they didn't do it quickly enough. So, very enjoyable scenario, 2 breakthrough boards side by side. Disclaimer, it is my own scenario, but I'm very happy with the way it turned out, and I hope more people will play it and maybe leave some comments on the website, and most of all, that they will enjoy the scenario, of course. So, thank you for watching.